How goes the family? Welcome back to Letters and Anything Goes. Hopefully you guys are having an awesome day. The weekend is here, so it's all good. Today's subject matter, we're talking about a Chicago native, a young man who's become one of the youngest African-American Subway franchise owners in the state of Georgia. Now, this is a great positive article that I came across the other day because, like I stated, Mr. Chris Williams, who is a Chicago native, is a successful entrepreneur, Subway franchise owner in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Now, let's get to his background. Mr. Chris Williams hails from the south side of Chicago, Inglewood area. Mr. Williams comes from a great middle-class family in one of the roughest areas of the south side of Chicago. He was surrounded by gang violence, he stated, drugs, poverty, and more. Like a lot of people in the Midwest, he decided to go basically get away from the senselessness and most likely the cold weather, and moved to Phoenix, Arizona for finance school. He served in the United States Army National Guard and finished a program at the Phoenix-based Automotive Dealership Institute in January of 2018. So thank you for your service to the country. Greatly appreciated, sir. After traveling across the country applying for jobs, he ended up in Florida obtaining a job as a finance manager. Unfortunately, he ended up becoming homeless and without a job at the age of 25. The article stated that Mr. Williams didn't allow the fact that he was homeless to deter him from pursuing his goals. Mr. Williams stated that by the time he started in this role as a finance manager, he'd run out of money, so he only had enough money to pay for either a rental car or an apartment. So he just made a decision, a command decision, I guess you could call it, and he ended up only, because he needed to have a car to get around South Florida for his job, so he ended up getting a rental car instead of getting an apartment. And he figured that he would use his military commission money to pay for an apartment. Wise choice in my personal opinion. However, he didn't make he didn't make the commission at all for at least a few months from the military. So he ended up going from 1 month in a car to 2 months to at least 3 in total living in a car. So it was brutal, he stated. Now that at the end of the day, that's really what you call dedication. Okay. He could have taken this opportunity to go back to his parents, but he opted out of going back to his comfort zone, which was not only his parents, but in the city of Chicago. I always say if you want something, to happen that you have never had done before, then you must go outside of your comfort zone, period. Mr. Williams went through hard times such as sleeping in his rental car, taking showers in local gyms, and washing clothes via the cleaners. Mr. Williams' determination is something that I have to give a lot of credit. But even in this situation, he would basically still read books, which was very interesting. And he studied in his car at night. So, dedication. Like I said, my hat goes off to you, young man. With every sacrifice and the right mindset, kind of like when you invest in, like a stock and a real estate, it will eventually come back to you. It will eventually pay off in one way or the other. Mr. Williams has become one of the youngest black Subway franchises, not only in the state of Georgia, but in the country. And it all started with him looking up Harvard syllabus and purchasing books that were taught at Harvard University, which obviously cost way less than actually attending Harvard University and actually going to the school on a day-to-day basis. And he taught himself concepts such as accounting, things that, in the process of him, taking them to the next level. And it's like people say they encourage you to always think outside the box, but do things outside the box all at the same time. Great example with Swiss Beats. If people don't know who he is, he's a famous record producer, rapper, and so much more when it comes to his entrepreneurial journey. He went to Harvard University, and he basically said that he really just went there for the contacts, not for the information. He could have got the information elsewhere, but it was just being in the right atmosphere. So no one in the information age, if you don't want to know something, then it's really on you at the end of the day. But back to Mr. Williams, he actually tried, to build his reserve to try to become an entrepreneur. During this process, Mr. Williams submitted an application to become a Subway franchise owner. Because the beautiful thing is, for a lot of companies, the application process is free to submit a franchise application. If you do not know the process for each franchise, basically has a certain process and a certain structure that someone has to go through in order to become what they call a franchisee. The franchisor is the individual who provides the opportunity for you to become a franchisee. So the franchisee is the individual who basically has received permission from the franchisor to license their name, their products, their designs in their store for a profit. And what happens is, during that process, the franchisor receives a percentage of those profits, which are called royalties. Mr. Williams wanted to own a Subway for the last few years. He stated, and I quote, "I felt like it had a strong brand and strong name. It had stood the test of time." The crazy thing is that Mr. Williams posting on social media that his application was accepted, and he had a lot of people contacting him trying to submit their applications through him. And his story inspired a lot of people, especially homeless people throughout the world. One story in particular he stated is that someone told him that they were homeless and didn't think that getting out of their situation was going to be possible. And now, seeing his story, it actually made it possible for them. Now we're getting ready to pursue, and I quote, "We're getting ready to pursue our entrepreneurial journey, and it's all thanks to reading your story on social media." Because that's how viral it went. And at times, that's why it is great for people to share their personal stories online, because, nothing too evasive and whatnot and too, private, but because you never know who might inspire, you might inspire out there in the world, not just the United States, but the world. Mr. Williams stated that, "I want to be the type of person who not only gets through an open door, but also holds the door open for others to walk through." We need more people with a humble mindset that are successful and not a snooty mindset and personality, because you get a lot of that when people make it. And I despise that with a sickness. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Really just cannot stand snooty people. He also made a true statement that at times it's known that when black people become successful, they brag on everything that they have and they showcase it, but they don't show others how to succeed as they did. And I find that to be despicable as well, but that's just my personal opinion. Now, nowadays, most millionaires are living below their means and are not really showcasing their money, but they're showing people how that they can do it via social media and offering online or one-on-one coaching as well. One thing that no one is saying that you have to share your wealth, but sharing information is key and common in most cultures. So Mr. Williams wants to change that dynamic for the African American culture and ensure that he shares the information with everybody else. This mindset of not sharing information with people so that they can go after their dreams and become successful, he's doing this by launching a series of e-courses to teach others about entrepreneurship and how they can raise capital and understanding the proven steps to become successful. And to that, in this video, Mr. Williams has advised for young/future entrepreneurs is that in order for a person to take or start a business, they have to take a risk. Risk is key. Risk is associated with business and entrepreneurship 100% of the time. Point blank and simple. If you're not ready to take the risk, then you're not ready to be an entrepreneur. I will say that with all sincerity. Because like I said, a lot of people just love to talk about it. A lot of people aren't really too keen on doing it, unfortunately. So, we'll leave it at that, But this goes back to leaving your comfort zone. If you want different results, you gotta leave your comfort zone. One of the things that Mr. Williams wanted for himself was that he didn't want to retire old. A lot of times, we as Americans have been painted, the American dream basically states that, hey, I'll get a high school diploma, and if I get the high school diploma, you qualify for this amount of money. And then if I go get a college degree, then you'll qualify for this amount of money. And then if you get a master's degree, then you're going to qualify for this certain amount of money. And in reality, they're basically conditioning us to be employees for the rest of our lives. I couldn't agree with that statement more that Mr. Williams stated. So please do not allow the education system to condition you to only be an employee for your whole life. I definitely agree with one piece of advice that Mr. Williams stated is people need to start saving and investing young so that they can position themselves to live the lifestyle that they want, not the lifestyle that society allows them to live. He stated, surround yourself with the right people who are doing what you want to do constantly read books. I agree with that 100%. Take courses, etc. You cannot go wrong. And I hope you guys enjoyed his story, and I hope you guys enjoyed his dedication, because that's exactly what that was. Nothing but dedication, and he didn't allow anything to stop him. Rough patches are inevitable in life. How will you get through them? How will you succeed? How will you survive? You know, you got to ask yourself those specific questions. You know, how are you going to go forward in doing what you want to do with your life? And, you know, are you spending your time worrying about things that don't have nothing to do with your day to day? Or are you actually positioning yourself, working harder than the next person to ensure that you can accomplish your goals? I mean, hey, it's a Friday evening. I could be doing two things, out and about or in bed, but I'm here with you making content because I'm passionate about this, you know. Working hard, going the extra mile, that's what it's all about. You know, hey, I went to work, I went to the gym, came home, clean, now I'm doing this. So it's all about, you know, doing what you got to do, even when you don't want to do it. You know, all right? Because that's the only way you can ensure that your marathon continues, family, all right? So anyways, hopefully you liked the video. Please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Check out my online store. Check out the Care Bars. And hey, you know, become a part of the investment team in 2020, all right? Hopefully you guys have a great day. Have an awesome weekend. And I will see you guys next time. Take care.